Easily the hottest topic in college football right now has been what Deion's doing at Colorado, because it coincides with, number one, a really big name out of the box getting a Power Five job at the perfect time where he can leverage new rules and new mechanisms in college football. So, like, the portal roster turnover has been historic. I know it's like one of the first years that it could happen. I don't know that we'll ever see it happen this violently, to this degree, as we're seeing at Colorado right now. So, I've heard from a ton of coaches behind the scenes about him. Some of them are just flat out jealous of the attention he gets. Okay, that's a little chunk of the pie. Several more of them don't really care about the attention. They don't like that they feel the system is getting abused. Some of them just don't like the system, period. And then there are others like Pat Narduzzi, who at least had the stones to put his name on the record and has said,
Yeah.
I don't think that's college football. Like, I am a college football coach, and whether it's the rules or not, beside the point, I don't think that's the way college football should operate. And so I've sat there and I've soaked all that in. And the thing about it is, no one's necessarily wrong. Like, your opinion is your opinion. So it can't be wrong. You could feel one way, I could feel another way. But I've always looked at it like this. When the portal changed, when the rules changed, and when it kind of overlapped with the NIL rules just being thrown out in free-for-all fashion, and NCAA said it's legal, but we don't really know where the guardrails are, so you're not okay, we're not okay, that's okay. I said on the show at the time, this is going to lead to a little more a professional model, and everyone was celebrating. At the time, everyone was celebrating players' rights, and everyone was celebrating that players are going to get to move just like coaches, even though that's an apples to bowling balls comparison, because one's on contract and one's not. And people were celebrating that players were going to get paid. And so I sat at this little desk in this studio right here, and I said, okay, that's technically true. Players are going to have more freedom to move. Players are going to have deeper pockets because they can monetize their name, image, and likeness. However, you're asking for them to have rights consequence-free, and that's just utopian. That's never going to happen. And so what I said is, in turn, if you want them to live in the same world that a quote-unquote professional or a quote-unquote employee lives, are you ready to see how employees get treated? Are you ready to see a coach come in and decide a third of this roster is not good enough for me? Goodbye. Case closed. Don't care that you're a college kid. And no one wanted to have that conversation at the time. Well, now they're forced to, because Deion's making them have that conversation. So you're watching this. You cover the game. You talk about the game every day. You played the game. Do you have like one feel on this? Can you see it from multiple angles? How have you watched what's happening in Boulder?
I think it's impossible to have one feel on it,
I do too.
especially from someone who played college football at a very different time in which none of these things were even available. So I can't point my finger and say I wouldn't have done that. I mean, I played for Rick Tricken. If you don't know, just Google it. You'll figure it out. Like, most of the guys I played with would have been in the portal. I have zero doubt about that. I might have been one of them. I don't know. It was just a very different time. So it's hard for me to point the finger and say, would have done that, wouldn't have done this. But I also love college football. And I can remember when NIL first started getting kicked around, I was one that stood up and said, why are none of you people talking about the brand that these kids are affiliated with and the value that that brings? Everybody just nobody wanted to open the door. We wanted to plant a brick of C4 on the door, probably like 5 bricks, and just Mission Impossible that thing, blow it up. Everybody comes rushing in, and it's like, give me the loot. So no one wanted to say, this is what I thought was hilarious. Tua Tagovailoa, the headline, Tua Tagovailoa lost $13 million in NIL money when he was at Alabama. Trevor Lawrence lost $18.9 million his last year at Clemson in NIL money. How much are they making at a Sun Belt school? How much are they making at a Mountain West school? No one even wanted to begin to try and recognize the fact that the brands they were affiliated with brought even more value than they did at that position. Not saying they weren't good players, not saying they weren't great, but the brands you're affiliated with also bring a ton of value. And it was just ignored. And I think that because it was ignored is why we just said, let them all in. Let's just let it go and see what happens and see how it plays out. Obviously, it didn't play out very well. Do I believe that the portal should be a free-for-all? No. And by the way, I don't even know why we have these windows, because kids are going in every day. Like, what is a portal window? The portal is 7-Eleven. It's 24/7, man, 365. Like, it doesn't really close. Okay, so technically you can't enroll at another school at a certain point in time, but the thing doesn't shut down. Then we bring in tampering to the entire equation and what that is and how do you solve that? Can you solve that? There's so many questions that go along with it. I go back to this in that all I can reference is what college football has done for me. And every penny that I have made in my entire life is because I played football at Auburn. Now, I know some people will hear that and they'll say, oh, what, yellow fella hooking you up with a job and just giving you a check to walk around? It's not that. The understanding that you need to have is when you played at Tennessee or Michigan or Georgia or Ohio State or Purdue or Illinois or Nebraska or USC or Washington or Oregon or Auburn, that there are going to inherently be people that want to help you for the rest of your life, forever. And I'll be honest with you, Josh, I talked to Herb Street about this a couple years ago. I can't wait to see what it looks like when we get kids that have played at 3 and 4 schools.
Yeah.
Is school 2 going to want to help him? Is school 4 going to want to help him? I doubt school 1's going to give a damn about him. Where are they going to go to games? I took my kids to the Hoover Met. We couldn't stay awake for the Auburn game last night, but I wanted them to kind of take it all in because they were playing there. Like, we went there because Auburn's there. If they weren't in the tournament this year, I'm probably not taking them. Like, I love taking my kids to Auburn and to games, and I don't get a chance to take them to games very much. That's why the A&M was so special last year. I had them all on the field with me before the game. Where are they going to go? And I understand that your whole free market, free enterprise, let them make as much as they want, fair. It doesn't fit into that discussion. I get that. I understand that. But from experience, what I'm telling you is college football has done a ton for me. And it's allowed me to do something that I love and talk about it every day and get paid to do it, which is just asinine when you really think about it. Because I tell people I haven't worked in like 8 years. Now, I put work into it, but I haven't shown up for work per se in like 8 or 9 years. It's not work. It's a job. I get a check for it, but I love it. I love every bit of it. I love compiling statistics. I love watching the film. And I don't get to do any of this if I played at a Sunbelt school or if I played at a Mountain West school. And I'm not banging on any. I love Sunbelt football. I love Maction. But the reality of it is there are just not as many people that are going to go out of their way to help you and want to see you do good things and go out of their way to make sure you're successful after that life. And this, for me, this includes medical sales, pharmaceutical sales, insurance, which God, I hated it, selling boxes, God, I hated it, and then radio, and then television, and then studio, and then that podcast out there floating somewhere that I do also. All of those things because I wore AU on the side of my helmet and played a couple of seasons of college football at a very average level. So we've lost all sight of that and don't care about that anymore. We've turned into and I can remember when actually the graduate transfer first started happening. I was doing a little show on Sports Radio 730 The Ump in Huntsville, Alabama. And I can remember the guy that used to call in every day and calling me and telling me that he remembered me saying it. When that first started happening, I said, it's never going to be enough. Understand that. It will never be enough. Gimme, mine, more. That's the hard part about this conversation that you and I are trying to have right now, Josh, is what is going to be enough? Because look where the word transfer has gone in, I don't know what, 6 years, 4 years? Like, we went from, oh, you got your diploma, which took coaches and academic advisors completely full circle, because it used to be, hold on, slow them down, make sure they can't go anywhere. And then kind of the Saban era comes in, oh, we want to process guys, get them through as fast as possible so we can get them out of here and get the next guys in. To now, the kids have smartened up and said, well, no, I want my degree in 2.5 years so I can go do whatever I want. Okay, that happened. To now, it's just, I lost in Call of Duty last night, I'm out of here. Hate this place. I'm done. So is there a quick fix to any of it? No. To follow up with what you said about Coach Prime, I would laugh at the people who said that, like, I agree with what Pat Narduzzi said. And this is where I think, just the whole other discussion for another day, collectively, I think we're all wrong in a lot of our daily lives, is we refuse to see things in the way that we disagree with. So you know what I like in this too? Players sitting out of bowl games. I freaking hate it. I hate it. Every fiber of my body hates it. But I understand it.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, why would Tua Tagovailoa go play in a bowl game? I get it. It's a month and a half head start on your NFL training, which could set you and your family up for the rest of your life. Fine, go do it. Would I have done it? I would like to say no. I don't think I would, because I love my teammates. And by God, I just love playing football. Like, give me another college football game with my guys. And listen, I was at Auburn for 5 years, so maybe mentally it was just different for me. But I liken it to that. I don't have to like that. But you know what? I understand it. So I'm not going to kill a kid for doing it. To get mad at Deion for doing things that aren't against the rules,
Boom.
to me, it's a little bit ludicrous. He's not breaking rules. He's gaming the system. The same thing that every other coach has done in some form or fashion. Hurry up, no tempo offense. We've all done that, right? I mean, whether your guys are clapping, your linebackers are clapping, trying to mimic the snap, we got rid of that. We were gaming the system there. Now we got guys shifting right before the snap saying, move! Trying to, again, mimic a snap count. Guys are doing that. We've all gamed the system somehow, whether it's holding a guy for an extra second or two to allow your running back to get past you. I was never penalized in college, so I wouldn't know about that. Whether it is, how you utilize your timeouts, recruiting, going to see it, bumping into a kid and not reporting it. Whatever. They all game the system somehow, some way. So to get mad at Deion for utilizing a system that's in place, I'll never disagree with that or hate on that. Now, I might not like it, but that's why Pat Narduzzi has his team. You run your program your way. And it's okay for him to voice that opinion and say, I don't think that's real college football.